Hi guys, and welcome to Escape Wheel Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the new Hruodland F025. I purchased this watch with earnings from this channel. Thank you guys so much for continuing to support this channel. I am happy to be a guinea pig for these early releases for you guys. I love getting them on camera to show you guys what you're really buying. So yeah, let me take the hit so you guys don't have to. Thankfully, this one is actually pretty good. If by the end of this review you do want to pick one of these up, I'm going to be leaving a link in the video description. That is an affiliate link. That's how I get the money to earn watches like this. So yeah, again, thank you guys for anyone who's supported the channel in the past. I really do appreciate it. I wouldn't be here without you guys. It's impossible to run this channel without you guys. So thank you guys so much. The retail price for this watch is $147 US. That's before any taxes, sales, coupons, VAT, etc. I picked this up during the last sale for about $120 US. So Hruodland, they do participate in the sales, and you know, 120 bucks is about what you can expect from most of the sales. The watch comes in two different colorways. They have this beautiful brown colorway that you see here, and then you do have a more conservative black colorway shown here. The watch case is made of 316L stainless steel. It has a mineral crystal, a mineral bezel insert, screw down crown, screw down case back, 200 meters of claimed water resistance, and the watch is powered by the Seiko NH35 automatic movement. So Hruodland, they've kind of snuck into my watch box. Yeah, I'm not really sure how, but yeah, they've just kind of snuck in there. I think I'm up to 4 watches from the brand. They seem to execute their watches very nicely. They got good finishing, and they get just the little details of the watches right. So I say we dig in and find out if this new model is any different than the previous ones. But before we do a quick wrist check. Wearing the Submariner SN0121. Wore this yesterday during my Lions victory, so the blue and silver kind of had to go with the Lions, right? So go Lions. Let's get to this review. All right, so let's check on the dimensions. So we have a case diameter of 41.9 millimeters, thickness of 12.8 millimeters, and a 20 millimeter lug width, tip to lug tip 47.7 millimeters, and on the supplied leather strap, weighs about 77 grams. So this is a pretty, I guess, true to size watch. The original watch, I'm not too familiar with it, but it sounds like it's roughly the same size, 42 on diameter. 41 is the bezel diameter, so it doesn't wear like a 42. It's only 42 because it's an asymmetrical case. You can see the case really hugs the bezel diameter there, but then it protrudes just a little bit to give a little protection to the crown on this side. So that's where you get that extra millimeter. It's not really noticeable. I think it wears really good. You can see the case sides here, really thin mid case, really, I mean, it just slims it down. It's excellent. It doesn't, 12.8 millimeters isn't super thin, but because of the case shape on this thing, it does work really well in my opinion. So yeah, I think it wears really good. I'm gonna go outside right now and throw it on my wrist for you. Hey, here we are on my 7.5 inch wrist, and you can see it does have some wrist presence on it, a lot more than say the Watch Dives version. So yeah, it does look really good, but you get that razor thin mid case there, which looks amazing. The lyre lugs also very nicely done. So I mean, the thickness, I think it wears really well. Top down here does have a little extra bulk just because of the case shape on this thing, but I don't think it looks bad at all. It looks really, really good. Sadly, I have no sun for you guys. Hopefully those intro shots kind of showed you what the dial really looks like under some good lighting. But yeah, right here it just kind of looks like a weird texture brown pattern. I do think it still looks really good though. You can see there's lots of play off of the chamfers and the bezel, and but I think it all looks very, very good. The crystal, I'm not sure has any anti-reflective coating, but it still looks really good. I've got no issues reading the time on this thing, so just something to consider. We'll talk about the crystal here in just a little bit, but yeah, it does look pretty good. I'm gonna go throw it on some more straps and we'll get back to this review. Here we are on a mesh bracelet, which I think does look pretty good. It's not my favorite on this one. I kind of figured it would look good, but yeah, not my favorite on this one. What do you guys think? It was lifted off a Pagani design, so no link for this one, sadly. Here we are on a army green or olive drab reach strap canvas. Really nice strap combo, I think. I actually do like this. It's hard to find something that goes with the brown, but this one does look pretty good in my opinion. And here's how I've been mostly wearing it on this nylon strap here, 2 layers underneath the watch there, and it still is wearing pretty nicely in my opinion. I just like the color of this. I think it matches the watch nicely, looks good, it's comfortable. Yeah, I'm a fan of it. All right, let's go back inside and let's get back to this review. All right, so let's talk about the case finishing on this thing. Case finishing is done very nicely. It's a mixture of brushed and polished surfaces. You can see here in between the lug opening and this chamfer here, you have kind of an angular brushing. Pretty hard to see the quality of it, but it does seem to be done pretty well. Very happy with that. Flipping it to the case sides here, you have a horizontal brushing. Pretty coarse there. It's not super consistent. You can see when it gets close to the crown here, kind of lightens up a little bit, but it's a little more coarse there. It's not bad. They could tighten that up a little bit, tidy it up a little bit, I mean. So yeah, the brushing isn't super consistent, but it doesn't look bad. It doesn't really look bad at all. But then you do have these really nice, I guess this is the lyre lugs. I'm not too familiar with it, but the lyre lugs, they look excellent. They got that nice twist to that chamfer there. Really nice quality on the polishing there. Very happy with it. It's nice and smooth. The transitions between the two surfaces are just razor sharp there, you can see. I mean, it's done very, very nicely. I'm happy with it. You can see the crown here. It is guarded, like I said, a little bit by the case there. Doesn't really get in the way. It's 6.4 millimeter crown, unsigned, as you can see there. I wish it was signed, but it's not. Plenty of grip though, and yeah, functions just fine. Yeah, I do like the case shape on this thing. It looks really good. Flipping it over to the case back here, you do have circular brushing on the bottom of the lugs. The case back itself, it's a mixture of brushing and bead blasting, I guess. You got this kind of marlin on here with the navigator text, and then a spec sheet around the outside. I think it looks pretty good. Simple notches to get a tool in there. Everything is finished nicely. It's a nice smooth case back. I've got no issues with that. This bottom edge of the case has been honed down nicely as well. So yeah, it's a super comfortable watch to wear. I'm really happy to say that it's been very comfortable on my wrist. All right, so let's talk about the bezel on this thing. First things first, we'll talk about the bezel insert. I'm assuming that is just a mineral bezel insert, but it does look really, really good. It's a deep, deep brown color. Looks fantastic. You have your faux patina lume there at all the 5-minute increments, and then all the white markings on this are BGW9. So pretty happy with it. It is a fully lumed bezel insert. It looks fantastic. It looks really, really good. And you can see the bezel itself, fully stainless steel bezel. You got brushing on this bottom edge here, polishing on the teeth, polishing on the top edge. Then you also have this little polished ring right here in between the bezel insert and the crystal. I think it all looks very, very nice. You got plenty of grip on this. I mean, it sits up so high that yeah, it's got tons and tons of grip. It doesn't really need a bunch of grip. The bezel feels a little bit light in my opinion. It's not the best. You can see the alignment spot on, so happy with that. But yeah, it could use a little bit more resistance, but it's really not that bad. It is a 120 click unidirectional bezel, and you can see here there's no real play in it. You can see it does have kind of that spring back effect to it, which is pretty common. But it just kind of springs right into place. So I do really like the bezel on this thing. I think it feels pretty good. It doesn't sound the most premium, as you can probably tell. I don't have another bezel here to check with, but yeah, it just doesn't sound the most premium, but very tactile. I can feel all the clicks. And like I said, good even resistance all the way around. It could be maybe a little bit heavier, but I haven't accidentally knocked it yet. So overall, I am pretty satisfied with the bezel on this thing. All right, so let's talk about the crystal. First things first, we'll test it for sapphire. You can see it is not sapphire. Bezel insert is also not sapphire. So it is just a mineral crystal, and I know that's going to be an instant turnoff for a lot of people, but I think this crystal is excellent. I feel like mineral crystal has its place. Obviously, it's not as hard as sapphire, but it is much, much, much less reflective. That's the big thing with mineral crystals, is that they look more like an acrylic crystal than the sapphire does. So I think, you know, this watch does have anti-reflective coating on it. So, I mean, it keeps the dial nice and legible. I think it was a good choice. That's just personally me. I'm okay, paying for a watch in this price range with mineral crystal, as long as it's a good one. I would much rather have a really good mineral crystal than a poor sapphire crystal. That's just me. So yeah, it's something that I am willing to do. I'm just not sure if you guys are willing to do it or not. But it's a really nice crystal. As you can see here, it sits up above the bezel insert there. Looks really, really good. It just oozes vintage vibes. Yeah, just a fantastic crystal if you can get past the fact that it's not sapphire. All right, now getting to the star of the show, and that's the dial on this thing. So I went with the brown one, and you can definitely see why right there. So it's my understanding that each dial is different. You can see the pattern on the dial is not consistent. So it's not something that it's not supposed to look consistent, and it doesn't. You can see here you got kind of a light spot here. It's a little bit lighter on the outside, darker on the inside, but then it does lighten up again towards the inside. Like I said, it's not consistent. I almost wish it was consistent, but I like the fact that each piece is unique. So yeah, really happy with it. It's a fully printed dial there. You got your Hruodland anchor at the 12 o'clock and then water resistant 200 meters at the 6 o'clock. The printing on it is just razor sharp, and getting in, you can really see the coloring on that dial and kind of the texture. So the dial itself is flat. It doesn't have an actual texture to it. It's kind of under that top layer of gloss. And I mean, it just looks absolutely beautiful. Changes depending on the lighting. Yeah, it looks excellent. You can see you've got your 12, 3, 6, and 9. Those are BGW 9 loomed. And then you've got your hour markers all the way around. Those are that kind of faux patina loom. The handset uses faux patina as well. They're a great size in my opinion. They reach right out to the minute track, nice and big and bold. They look fantastic. They're fully polished there, not faceted or anything like that, but nice and clean. The dial itself is done very, very nicely, and you might have even gotten a glimpse of the lume there. So let's talk about the lume. I'm going to pop up a lume shot right now. Here you can see it against a couple other watches in the collection, and for being faux patina and printed, this watch does excellent. I was quite surprised with the lume on this thing. It's one of those watches where I can grab it at 3, 4 in the morning with my eyes adjusted to the dark. I can read it no problem. So I'm happy with the lume on this thing, and I think that initial burst with the 2 different colors I think also looks really good. So yeah, the lume on this watch is actually really good. All right, so let's talk about the movement in this thing. So the movement is the Seiko NH35. It's automatic bidirectional winding rotor, so it can wind the movement in either direction. So you don't get that rotor spinning around, which is nice. 21,600 beats per hour, so 6 ticks of the second hand every second. About 40 hours of power reserve. It hacks, it hand winds, it does everything you need it to do. It's cheap, it's reliable, it's easy to work on. It's a great movement for a watch like this. The only complaint is a ghost date position. That's really it. So I think the movement has been great for me. Here's how mine has been running, fairly accurate. The beat error is a little bit higher than I'd like, but still not too bad. So the movement is operated by this, again, 3 o'clock screw down crown, unsigned, but good grip on the crown. You do sometimes kind of hit the bezel here. That's something I've noticed that I do, but just something you got to get used to. You get a nice satisfying pop out from the NH35. First position is your hand winding. Second position is your ghost date, and I don't hear it. Yeah, I do not hear it back there, so they did remove that, so that's nice. Pulling out to the third position hacks the movement, and this is where you set your time. Everything functions as it should. Everything was aligned nicely as well. Overall, pretty satisfied with it. The crown feels nice and solid as well. So yeah, very happy with the crown action on this watch. Very happy with the movement in general. It's pretty good. The only complaint I have really is no signed crown, and then my hand hitting this little edge here. That's it. Outside of that, it's not bad at all. Yeah, so let's talk about the strap on this thing. So the strap, as you can see here, it's a dark kind of chocolatey brown suede strap. It's actually pretty nice. It's 20 millimeters. It tapers down to 18 millimeters. So it's a little bit of a taper to it. You can see the stitching nicely done. It's kind of a cream color stitching there. It's a good length. I'm kind of right in the middle of my 7.5 inch wrist. So yeah, I am very satisfied with the strap. I'm not sure how long it'll hold up for, but and for the time being, it's pretty good. It still needs a little bit of breaking, but it was fairly soft right out of the box. I think if I wore it some more, it would definitely get broken in nicely. So you got one floating keeper, you have one stationary keeper, working our way to a fully polished buckle there with the Roland branding on it. Overall, I am very satisfied with this thing. The nice thing about it is if you don't like it, it does have quick release spring bars, so that's nice to see. My only hesitation is this bottom. It still carries that suede material on the bottom, which makes it super comfortable to wear. But if you're going to be wearing this thing and sweating in it, that's probably going to tear that up and it's going to look terrible after a while. But yeah, other than that though, it's been a good strap. It's one of those straps where I'm not going to throw it away. I'm going to keep it in the collection. I think it looks good. I think it feels good. And I think it goes with the watch nicely. All right, there you go, guys. That is the Hruodland F025, a really cool vintage-inspired diver. You know, I'm not usually a big fan of faux patina, but they kind of toned it down. It's not bright orange. It's got a good color to it. I think the faux patina with the brown, I think, looks fantastic. Looks really, really good. I'm happy with the lume. I'm mostly happy with the bezel on it. The movement has been running great. The crystal is going to be a big sticking point for a lot of people. You're either on board or you're not. I'm fine with it. I know some people won't be, but yeah, I really do like the watch. I think the case back is pretty cool too. Very comfortable, nice strap. Yeah, and I like the fact that each dial is unique, and the dial on this thing is absolutely fantastic. Really, 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 really nice. Yeah, I hope you guys can appreciate the dial on this thing. It looks really good. Again, if you guys are interested, I'll be leaving the link down in the video description. I think that's it for me. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.